All right. All right, everyone, welcome in. I am loaded today. I just had a birthday, so I am all filled up with energy, to say the least. We started talking about the natural laws, so we are going to do the Law of Divine Oneness today. And before I even started all this, I should have started with energy. So you understand that everything is energy. We understand that the tree is energy. You understand that the rocks are energy. And we look at it and it brings information in, and we have this idea, hey, this is a rock. But everything is energy. Ice is energy, right? Water is energy. Steam is energy. And so that's how we need to start looking at breaking things down a little bit like that. Because if you put heat to ice, it changes to water. But we never say the water died. Same thing if you put heat to water, it changes to steam, we never say the water died, right? It just is on a different vibration or different energy signature, right? And nothing goes away, right? Nothing goes away. We may not be able to see it with our eyes, but nothing goes away. Everything is in existence. Can't destroy anything, right? Like for people that crossed over, it's almost like they just stepped back, right? They didn't really go anywhere. They just stepped back and assumed a different energy signature, right? And as I will talk about today as the Law of Divine Oneness, we're all one. Everybody is connected to everything, right? So if you kind of hurt yourself, you're kind of hurting me. If I hurt myself, I'm kind of hurting you, right? And if And so once we start looking at life like we're one, immediately wars will cease, right? Because we will realize that if I'm hurting you, I'm hurting myself, right? And so I won't engage in anything like that to hurt myself, right? I have that attitude now, so, every so often I'm not, because if a fly come in, I'm just going to lose it for a minute or two. But, as for a Buddhist, they let everything live, because, if I kill something, it affects me and it affects everything else. And so that's how we need to start looking at this. But again, everything is energy, no matter what it is. If I make this here, you might say that is sound, but really it's just energy. It went through the ears twisted around, and we call it sound, right? And so that's how we need to start thinking about this. So the Law of Divine Oneness. Spirit is the essence of consciousness, the energy of the universe that creates all things. Each one of us is a part of that spirit, a divine entity. So the spirit is the higher self, the eternal being that lives within us. And when we say lives within us, really is just, there's a connection within us, right? Because the body lives inside the soul or inside the spirit. The spirit is not in the body. The body can't handle all that information. Information from many, many, many lives, many, many, many dimensions, many different lives you had, whether you were an animal or whatever it was. And so this thing is created by the soul, right? So the most of you is not in the body. The most of you is just in the ether. You just, as a body, was created so that you can understand things, feel things, hear things. For a lot of entities, they don't have a body, so there's certain things they can't feel, right? Because it's almost like it's theoretical to them. Oh yeah, if you do this, this should happen. But until you get a body, you don't realize like, oh, that crap hurts, right? And so we need to just understand that connection there. So our thoughts, our visualizations, and the language by which we express our thoughts are some of the most powerful tools we have for spiritual growth. Just as God, or the all, creates with mind, so do we as human beings. Thoughts create and constitute the basis for all there is, because thoughts are vibrations before they become thoughts. When we then express them as the energies of words, emotions, and actions. In this way, we interact with the world and carry out our life's activities. The law of divine oneness helps us understand that we live in a world where everything is connected to everything else. Everything we say, do, think, and believe affects others and the universe around us. And when we talk about universe, we're just talking about not this universe, but every universe there is that's in existence. And there are many, 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 many of them, right? As we grow spiritually, we learn how to transmute negative thoughts, words, and emotions and actions into positive ones. Thus, we not only manifest a better environment for ourselves, but we also help create a better world that is consistent with the one. Okay, and so the next part is almost like a channel of the message. And so I'm just going to read it. I am Athena. I, Athena, am pleased to be selected with Master El Morya to deliver the ancient wisdom of Hermes Trismegistus, better known in Egypt as Thoth, on this universal principle of divine concept of oneness. I fulfill this assignment with my heart connected to the great central sun. It provides me with the connection to the divine. It is this lifetime, through the higher self, that shall bring forth the highest frequency of information to the reader of these words. The divine concept of oneness is the universal mind. It is a realization that all is mind and the universe exists within this field of pure energy and light. All is consciousness, the planets, the suns, the animals, the plants, the minerals, and all beings of multidimensional forms who grace the Creator's kingdoms. Nothing escapes this principle, for all is composed of the same substance at the subatomic level. It is here at the subatomic level where oneness, the oneness constant, sustains the life force within. It is also at the level where higher consciousness is realized. For all is mind energy in the universe is, and all is information which can be reduced mathematically. This field of mind energy is sometimes referred to as the golden liquid light, or otherwise known as prana or chi or life force energy. This field is accessed by individuals by silencing the active mind. Right? That's one of the benefits of doing yoga release, is just to quiet your mind, which is almost like I want to say it's a computer, but still, it is there for a purpose. It brings you information, but it only brings you a limited amount of information based on what it knows, not based on something on the spiritual side where there's so much information, right? This state reduces the number of electromagnetic signals emitted by higher mental actions. Silence allows the 9 bodies to align with the perfect code that locks the individual into this force field. Once an individual resonates to the frequency of divine oneness, the mind connects with symbols and patterns that reside in this force field. These, in turn, enable the mind to use this connection for creation and manifestation. The key to accessing this power lies in the person's ability to remain totally calm, balanced, and at peace during all situations. Right? Mind, body, spirit, and earth are all connected with this golden liquid light. They're all one, yet each affects the other in subtle ways. Humans moving into the 5th dimension must understand this concept and also understand subtly of the mental bodies and mind's influences on the creative process. This is especially true for scientists. If this is not understood, evolution will be stalled and chaos will result, causing pain to those moving through this portal of time-space. And it's important that we actually bring up scientists because right now they don't understand that everything is connected to everything else, right? When we created the atomic bomb and we set it off, they didn't realize that it's affecting other dimensions as well, right? If they knew that, then they would have never set that off. So that means they're not really connected. They don't think everything's connected to everything else, right? And so lots of things happened once we set that off. We had lots of visitors because it was like, you're really affecting us over here, but you don't even know it. We live here, you don't even know it, and you're affecting us. So they don't think everything is connected to everything else. They're getting a little bit closer with quantum physics and things like that, you know, when we realize that everything is connected to everything else, right? So a magnetic flux exists in the universe, which will be experienced more fully when Earth is integrated into the 5th dimension. And really, this was written a long time ago. So we break things down just so we can understand them, right? When in reality, everything is all one working together, right? We have chakras in our body, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? But really, they all act as one, right? And so those are the things we need to understand, right? One can't worry without the other one. Like I'm working on my lower chakra, and well, you're working on all of them, you know. But we need to break it down so that we can, as humans, can understand how it works. Sometimes you don't need to, you know, like your car, like you just need to know you to put gas in it and go. I don't need to go under the hood and try to figure all that out. But for me, as a mechanic, I like to take it apart, and I like to put it back together, and I like it to work, and I don't like to have any extra parts, right? So that's the way I look at stuff. I want to break it down and try to figure out, you know, how it works. And so that's the same thing with this spiritual stuff. When I first started, I used to call it mechanical spirituality because I want to break it down and understand it and see how it works. And then I can teach people, okay, yeah, so this is how it works for me. You know, this is what I did. And maybe you can follow those things and move forward, right? So, but they say we're in all dimensions, right? But if we think we're in a 1 or 2 or 3, then we're closing ourselves off from information about the other ones, right? So there are many other dimensions, right? And a dimension is just a difference in awareness, right? I'm aware of more things in the 5th dimension than I was in the 3rd or the 4th or the 11th or the 12th. It's just more information, right? That's the only really difference between dimensions, more information. I learn about the 3rd dimension, I learn all the things that works, and then I feel safe and I'm quiet and I'm relaxed, and then I move up and there's more information, and then I keep going that way and there's more information. That's the whole difference between these dimensions, fifth dimension, fourth dimension. People say we're going into the fifth. We're already there. We just need to be aware of, hey, what happens at this level, right? Things happen faster. I create faster, right? So I need to realize, hey, if I think of something, I can create it. And if I don't like it, then I can think of something else and then create something else, right? But again, we need to break these things down just so we can better understand. But truly, everything works together, right? One can't work without the other one, almost like a puzzle, right? Everything works together. And so, but we're kind of in the fifth dimension where we're more spiritual than we are when we were on the quote unquote third dimension, right? But we're there already. A lot of people don't know it, so they're still creating what was happening before, right? They're still creating things that feel like the third dimension, right? Negativity and so, but they don't realize that, hey, we're different, right? But once they realize and look around and see other people doing other things, then they'll be like, okay, this is all, right? But again, it's all around us always. So we're integrated into the fifth dimension. It is sensitive and fluctuates easy through the stimulus response. Patterns being emitted constantly by various energy sources. For example, whenever there's a direct disruption to the force field, a momentary disturbance is created in the magnetic resonance patterns around individuals. The cycles of the moon has subsequent effects on human behavior if you straight this point, right? When such disturbances occur, information received by the individuals is disrupted, and the mathematical symbols are disrupted or disturbed. This causes inaccurate information to be received and assembled within the mind. So again, the most important thing about this is going to be being calm within the chaos, or what we think is the chaos, right? If we go with the chaos, then your energy is different, and you miss the big picture, right? Because you're almost in the fight or flight mode, right? Which is a lower dimensionality, perspective or thinking. But if I am grown and I see myself, okay, I'm a fifth dimensional, I'm focusing on fifth dimensional reality. Then I'm not fight or flight, I'm just almost observing, and I will just look at stuff and see stuff. I'm not afraid. So then information that's coming will be much purer than if I'm in a state of frenzy, right? It's really that easy, right? The calmer I am, the more pure or correct or right is the information I receive, right? The information is always going to be from source, is going to be right. It's just that when we start thinking and the mind goes and gets in the way, then everything gets convolved, right? Those are those different energies that disrupt us, disrupt the information. So that's almost like a filter. If I'm upset, that's a filter. And the information then comes through that filter of anxiety. And of course, then it's skewed from what spirit or source is offering to us, right? So it's good to be calm. It takes practice. You know, I wasn't always calm. I'm calm now 90% of the time. Before I was 40 and then 50. And as you understand how the laws work and how I create things and how I create things based on what I think, feel, see, do, and chew on, right? So the calmness is one of the most important things you need to understand. Listening to spirit, again, I said this last week, it's like God never stopped talking to us. Our spirit never stopped talking to us. Our loved ones never stopped talking to us. We just stopped listening, right? Based on what other people told us to do. This isn't right. This isn't true. You're not worth anything, right? And so things get skewed that way. So be calm. That's one of the things, prerequisites of when you are doing mediumship stuff, right? First, you got to be calm first, right from the get-go. So in our classes, we used to at least pray and be quiet for a while before we even start, right? Because we need to get rid of, hey, I just got off work, man, the traffic was crazy, So in the beginning, that's how we calm ourselves down and get into this place where we can hear, right? We're listening, but we can't hear. And so being calm is, I can't emphasize that enough. All right, so this causes inaccurate in quotes information to be received and assembled within the mind. I place the word inaccurate in quotation marks to make a point. In reality, no information received is inaccurate, because all information received is received as a result of magnetic patterns that formed around an individual. Again, so we're attracting stuff to us by the energy we give off. Again, because we're energy too, just like anything else, right? And the universe responds to our energy output, because we're all giving off a signature, right? And the universe doesn't say, hey, Clenston, you shouldn't be giving that off, so why don't you change this up and I'll do this for you? The universe says, you give me this, I'll give this back to you. It's that simple. Whatever you put out, you get back. There are other laws we'll go through that. We'll talk about that in depth. But whatever you give out, the law of attraction, whatever you give out, it goes out and finds something that feels like it and brings it back to you. Whether you're upset or you're joyous. It doesn't care. It doesn't say this is bad for you or this is good for you. It just says, here's what you give me, I'm going to give it back to you, right? I always say the universe is a large copy machine. Whatever you put in, you get out, right? It's the simplest way I can put it, right? If you think bad about somebody, guess what? The universe is going to send you something that looks just like it, right? And it's just so that we can learn that we're creators, we're energy, and we're offering this, and hey, this is what I get back. And the lesson would be, okay, if I did that, and that happened, let me do this, so that this happens. And that's all that's doing. It's not saying you're a good person, you're a bad person, because we're all good, right, by nature. It's just saying, you're a creator. If you keep thinking this way, here's what happens. If you keep thinking this way, over a period of time, here's what happens. So that when people give you psychic messages, for example, right? They're going to give you a message based on the energy they feel around you and the energy up to that point. And so what their message is, if you keep doing this, this thing will happen, right? But if you are doing this and then you don't do this anymore, that thing won't happen. Is that psychic wrong? No. It's just that you change your vibration and other things happen, right? So they're just giving you something that says, even the famous, the quatrains, what was his name? The quatrains. They were just messages from way back. But it was like, the earth will be destroyed or something like that. Evidently, Nostradamus, right? So, and he was right. But what happened is, as humans, we changed the way we were thinking, right? And so, those things didn't happen. And so we're still here, right? In actuality, those things happen on another track. But we change our thinking and our energy, and we shift tracks to a track where the earth is not destroyed. Right? This is getting really crazy. So, and Bashar says this a lot. If you want to change, you never change where you are. Right? So I want to do all these great things and wonderful things, and it's not happening where I am. But I keep thinking I want to change these things. What happened is you're giving off that energy we're talking about, and then you will be attracted to a place like what you're thinking about. So I'm not changing where I'm at right now. I'm going to vibrate to somewhere where things will be like I want them to be. Right? I may still see y'all, but we'll be interacting differently. Right? Quantum physics, it gets really deep to explain it all, but really it's easy. You think a certain way, this quote unquote good place is over here, you're attracted to that good place. Right? And where you are now will be here for who don't feel that way. Right? Does that make sense? So it's it's complicated, but it's not. You think good, you get good things. If you think negative, you get negative things. Right? And it's that easy. Right? And so again, the divine oneness, thank you. The divine oneness is just going to allow us to almost see our true selves. Right? It will allow us to connect with every person, because when I look at you, I see me. When you look at me, you should see you. Right? Because we're all connected. Right? And we're all patterned after the same energy on the microscopic level. We're all built to the same thing. Right? We're all made of the same thing. We're just expressions of God, individual forms of it. And God said, you know what? I want it's a word, variety. I want a variety of things. I want to see how many varieties will come from me. And that's why we have all of us. And we all will think different. We all will do different. And we all will say, oh, he will be like he, she, it. Oh, this is cool. This is cool. Right? It is, I keep saying it's easy. It's easy for me because I've been thinking this way for a while. Right? I'm not gonna, I forgot what was the story. If you hit somebody over the head with a hammer, right? Sooner or later, they're gonna get mad and hit you back with the hammer. Right? So at some point, you won't even attempt to hit anybody with the hammer, because you realize it's going to come back to me. Right? Easy. Right? That's easy. That's easy. And so once we start thinking like that, on the political level, right, then again we won't have wars. But if I think you're different than me, and you don't live on the same continent as me, and you don't speak the same language as me, and you don't look like me, then I can do whatever I want to you over there. And it doesn't affect me over here. But it does affect me over here, right? So that's how I will leave that for today, right? Oneness. Start there. Before we try to do anything else, realize we're all one. And we said that too in regular church, you know. We're created in the image of a certain thing, right? That's all that is, the creator. And everybody has that in them. Again, whether you're standing on the corner or what, everybody has that in them. So when you look at somebody, see that at least. And that will help you calm your mind down about things, you know. I won't be scared of everybody, because if I'm scared of people, which means I'm kind of scared of myself, right? And if I'm scared of myself, I can't be comfortable with you. But once I realize that we're all in this together, right, then I can see that goodness, godness in you. And then I'd have no fights with you. Your expression, you're allowed to express in any way you want. And I'm allowed to express in any way I want. And I can't stop you. I don't want to stop you from expressing, saying, or feeling what you want to do. I just want you to realize that what you do comes back to you. Right? Sooner or later. Sometimes we want it to come back to them real fast. Right? Like, oh, you killed this person. I want you to die today. That's not for us to do. Right? The law of attraction says what you do will come back to you. And there's no error in that at all. Right? It happens. It happens to me. What you do comes back. And then I say, okay, I learned that lesson. Let me go on and do something different. Right? And that's all it is there to do. It's no, again, right or wrong. It's just Spirit says, here you go. Here's something you need to work on. Right? And if you don't adhere to that or notice that, then the rap gets louder. Right? Because you keep attracting it. You keep attracting it. God isn't just throwing it on you. You keep attracting it. And then once you realize, okay, I did that. I caused that. Nobody caused that to me. Right? I did that. I was talking to somebody, I'll leave on this one here. A client. And it was like, he did that to me. And I was like, I let her talk for a minute. I was like, all right, he did that. But you did that to yourself after that. Right? He did nothing to you. He did something and then you reacted. And then so things went on that way. You cried because you felt the need to cry. Whatever that is. You did whatever you did. But he didn't do that to you. You cried because you want to cry. You cry because you feel a certain way. You know, a certain loss. You know, a certain hurt. Right? Acknowledge that. Yeah, I cried. He did something, I cried. Acknowledge that. Right? But nobody can do anything to you unless you listen to it, chew on it, wash it, just play with it, and then things happen to you. But nobody can do anything to you at all, bar none, unless you say, yeah, you can do that to me. You can make me cry then, okay, yeah, you're going to cry. But they didn't do that to you. Right? I'm not saying you got to be hard about stuff, but realize if you're in it, you had something to do with it. Take 50% of the blame. Right? And like, okay, I learned my lesson. Right? And again, I will leave that with you. Any questions come up? No, it's a lot of information. All right, cool. We can talk about this a little bit later. All right, thank you. All right, folks. The wife is on here. We'll see y'all around.